Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Capital A Trading. Welcome to another episode of the Forex Weekly. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to go through the charts, look at the best investment opportunities for the week, show you what I'm going to do, show you some areas to watch, and then of course you can monitor them throughout the week and see how they progress. So if that sounds good to you, if you trade, if you take investments, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Stay up to date with the channel. There's a lot of exciting content coming. Do check out the eye candles video that was released last week, showing you how institutions leave their mark in the market. A really good video. With that being said, let's get straight into the charts this week. We're going to check out the fundamentals, see what news may impact the charts, and then of course we can move on from there.
Okay, as always, it's important to check that news at the start of the week. Last week was controlled by the pound interest rate decision. There was obviously the non-farm payrolls on Friday for the US dollar. This week is going to be more of an open runway. There's nothing much on Monday that I'm going to worry about. I'll be watching the Swiss franc, but again, nothing too impacted on the charts. So Tuesday, again, not much. I'll be watching the CAD just to see what's going to happen around the New York Open. But again, nothing much to worry about. Then I'll switch to Wednesday, the New Zealand dollar at 2 in the morning. Just be something to look at before the night, before we get to rest. And then hopefully you can see the impact in the morning. Thursday is going to start to pick up. I will be focusing on the US dollar with all this news here just after the New York Open. And then Friday, it kind of switches to the pound. So we've got some nice days to focus on certain currencies and see how it's going to affect the charts. So with that, let's get straight into it. Let's start off with gold. So first up, I'm going to go through gold. Now, first of all, I just want to show how well this was documented inside my Discord channel. I mentioned there being a sell around a week ago now, 2 weeks ago at that level. It dropped. It's come all the way down to this point now. I spoke about there being a buy push from that 1780 level. It pushed towards the 1815 mark. And we got that sell, I think it was on Friday. It started to push to the downside. Looking at this now, as I start to break down the time frames, I believe this could be coming towards the 1830 mark this week. Now, as I'm coming down through the time frames, I'm looking for my scenario, and there it is. This is where I believe the market makers have left the mark around that 1830, 1825, and I believe that's where they're coming to this week, and there could be another transaction from there. So just keep an eye on that. Again, we've got some US dollar news later in the week, which I believe can impact that. So if you start to see price coming towards that 1830, 1825 mark, and it starts to struggle, it starts to show signs of not being able to go higher, then I believe it will be a good place to take a position. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be gold. Next up is going to be the US 30. Now, I mentioned this area last week. I did say that I wanted to see a move from around the 35,400. It's come to around the 700 mark and started to make its move down. So I believe we're starting to do what I call the stairwell, where it looks like we're starting to come down, come back up to a higher point, and then continuously make new lows. So regarding this one, I'm going to keep an eye on that same level, the 35,400. I just want to see if it's going to come back here, retest, and then start to make its move to the downside, where we can hopefully see price come at least towards the 3,400 mark here. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be US 30. Last but not least in this section is going to be the UK 100. This was mentioned last week on my video. I spoke about this area here around the 7,600 mark, and I wanted to see a sell. Price came down, showed its sign of struggling. It's showing me that it can't go higher than this point. So I believe now another stairwell is starting to form. And regarding this one, I'll just keep an eye on the 7,600 to the 7,550. I believe somewhere in there, we're going to start to see this really push with a target, hopefully, back towards the 7,000 mark. Keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the UK 100. Next up is going to be the USD Swiss franc. Again, this was a very good move that I mentioned last week from this 93,400, 93,300 mark. Again, the daily time frame you can see showed some struggle, started to struggle at the area, and then we've had to push this week. So now if I just come down to the 4 hour, this is the area that I was talking about. The body stayed in line with this candle, and then we started to get that monstrous move to the downside. The US dollar started to fight back on Thursday, Friday, and it's now pushed up towards this level here, just below the 93 mark, around 92,800, 92,600. There's a 4 hour candle there that I'm going to monitor this week as I start to break it down. I just want to see price struggle in this area, how it kind of finished Friday, continue with that. And then I believe we may get another push to the downside, seeing the Swiss franc gain some strength. So again, just monitor that area. If you start to see the struggle early in the week, I think we've got some Swiss franc news at the very start. So again, if that starts to line up and correlate, I believe we can get a nice push from this area. That's going to be the USD Swiss franc. Again, very similar. I've been watching the USD CAD. I like this daily area just below the 128 level. It looks like to me, for my students who know, that a contract has been made in this area. So as I start to break it down again, you can see the candle that they're playing off. For those who've seen the eye candle video, this is where they're now starting to hold up at this level. So all I'm looking to see is some CAD strength. I don't want to see the US dollar start the week strong, and of course, see this starting to push down. I believe this will at least come towards maybe the 125,500 to the 125 mark. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be the USD CAD. And in this section here, last but not least, will be the USD JPY. Now, again, I'm feeling this area around the 115,300 to the 115,500. As I start to break it down, you can start to see a similar movements to what's happened on the other pairs. And I just believe we're going to continue from this area and push to the downside, hopefully with a target of reaching around the 113 mark. So there's a nice possible 200, 230 pip move there. Keep an eye on them ones. That's going to be the USD JPY. Very similar to the USD JPY. It's also going to be the pound yen. I'm looking at the 156,500 area. That's going to be the key mark, where obviously you can see the signs of struggling there for almost a day. And then it started to make a movement to the downside. So as I break it down a little bit, I just want to see price push back up towards this area here. Maybe 156,300, give it a bit of space to breathe. And then hopefully start to see that struggle again, start to see the bodies leveling out. And then I believe the push will be coming. Target on this one, realistic target would be the 154,500. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the pound yen. Now, for those of you who follow me, I've been catching lots of good trades on this euro pound. There was another one a couple of weeks back. All of a sudden, on Friday, this just shoots to the moon. Now it's come back to a key area around the 84,800, 85 will be the mark that I'm watching out for. I want to see what's happening in this market gap. I want to see this movement here that they've left on Friday. I just want to see that continuously struggle around this level. And then I believe the push will be coming. Keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the euro pound. Next up is going to be the pound Swiss franc. Now, again, this was something I mentioned in the summer last year, that being a big sell from the 130 mark. And ever since last April, it's just been dropping and making this little stairwell to the downside, kind of just reaching back up and then going and making a new low. I believe it's coming all the way to the 120 mark. So where we are now, that's a nice 500 pips away. So what I'm looking at is the movements that we've seen here on the daily. This is an area that I believe they manipulated. They came back, touched it, and they made another movement down. Now, as you can see, they've come back towards this area here, that same candle, as you can see, touched into it, and it's just starting to show some signs of struggling. So all I'm looking for this week is, again, this area here around the 125, 800, 126. I believe we're going to get a sell push from. I just want to start to see some more candles like that, some wiki candles, and then hopefully the movement will come later in the week. Remember, we have got that Swiss franc news. We've also got pound news that we need to contend with. So keep an eye on that. Be aware of the times they're going to happen. That's going to be the pound Swiss franc. Next up, very similar, is going to be the pound USD. Again, another one that I mentioned recently from the 137 level. You can start to see the daily picture here, how it keeps coming back, hitting these areas, and then making monstrous moves to the downside. Now, regarding this one, for my students who would know, it's come back to a key area regarding the Fibonacci retracement, and it's now starting to show signs of playing from this point here at the 136 level. And of course, Friday showed its hand by pushing down once it hit that point. So if we just break it down a little bit, all I want to see is price come back up towards that 136, towards this level here, and start to show me that struggle again. That's going to be the pound USD. I'm just going to throw in a little bonus one. It's going to be the CAD Swiss franc. This was pointed out to me last week by one of my students from New York. He explained what he saw. He was riding the trade, and he's actually now become a very profitable situation for him from around this level, around the 73,200 mark. So what I'm looking for is a few things to look out for this week now. And if I break it down, there's been a lot of play from this area here, the candle that was formed on the 1st of February. And this is lots of struggle. It's like there's a fence here that price can't cross. So I'm just going to monitor that around the 72,600, 72,700 level for the start of the week. There may be an opportunity to take a position there. But what I've noticed on this 2-hour time frame is an ever so slight market gap left here. And it's got a key number around the 73 mark. So I'll just be monitoring both things. Of course, if this one starts to progress higher, that idea will be quickly wiped out. And I'll just monitor the 73 level for the push. Now, again, remember the Swiss franc news at the start of the week may fuel that. So keep an eye on that one, a little bonus one. I'm actually analyzing this just to keep an eye on it for my student. That's going to be the CAD Swiss franc.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Again, monitor a couple of the areas that I've mentioned. Do get access to my Discord if you haven't already. Get that now, where I'm going to be updating the charts throughout the week. Again, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Stay up to date with the channel. I've got a beginner's guide. I've got more advanced videos coming very soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good trading week.
Bye, have a great time.